Police and Fire Commission meeting, recorded March 9, 2023.
All right, it's 2 o'clock, March 9th. We will call to order the Police and Fire Commission. First thing on the agenda is the roll call. Candy.
Kirschling.
Here.
Moore.
Here.
Rosick. Here. Ostrowski.
Here.
Taylor.
Here.
All right, all present and accounted for. Agenda item number 2 is the approval of minutes. You should have them in your packet. Take a second and go over them if you need. Motions, questions, comments?
Mr. Chairman, I would move for acceptance of the minutes as submitted.
Second, Mrozek.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Anyone in the audience? You're all reading them anxiously, I'm sure. Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Moving on. Agenda item number 3 is the confirmation of bills, and we will ask Mr. Ostrowski as usual.
Thank you, Mr. President. On your behalf and that of the commission, I reviewed these and went through them. The ambulance one, I think the only one that needs a little explanation is item number 3, the EMS SAAS. That's an annual expense, but it pops up this time of the year, so it's rather substantial. The only other one I think that warrants some identification, and that is on the police budget, item about number 5 down, the virtual classroom supplies for $5,500, and I asked Chief Gassot to explain that, please.
Yes. So now that we are in this building, we're centrally located, we have the opportunity of bringing a lot of training here into the city. And Stacy Lenz, who is the training coordinator for the Department of Justice, has reached out to us. And one of the trainings that they put on is called Leadership in Police Organizations. It's a 3-week course. And in order to host that, you can't miss any of those days or else you cannot pass the class. And so we actually put some money aside and developed a virtual classroom. And so if somebody is absent, they'll still be able to log online and attend the class while they're here. And it's definitely a benefit for the entire city. I mean, we're hosting A-Ride here. We're hosting DNR training. We're hosting State Patrol training. And there's several more trainings that are being hosted here. And so it's just something that we decided to implement so that we have a better opportunity to get more trainings here to bring more people from within the state to our area.
Thank you very much, Chief. That's what I wanted out on there for the record. And with that, I would then move for acceptance of the bills unless there's any other questions.
Kirschling, second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions about the rest of the bills or any of those? Anyone on the commission? Anyone in the audience? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Moving on to agenda item number 4. It is the Fire Chief's report, EMS report. Chief Moody.
So this last month we had a retirement ceremony for motor pump operator Art Doms after 32 years of service. And it was very well attended, and I appreciated all the members and past members that were there to wish him farewell. We had a promotion/graduation ceremony. We had many members promoted, BC Hoffensberger, Lieutenant A. Strike, motor pump operators Pettis and Parker. We have a new administrative assistant, Karen Baxter, and we had 3 graduate from our Academy Class 2301, firefighter paramedics Hanoyas, Mack, and Kruger. So that was on February 8th and again, February 10th, and was well attended as well. One thing that I would like to let the Police and Fire Commission know, we did receive our FEMA grant that we wrote for last year in 2022. We had that check presentation here at the Stevens Point Fire Department February 24th. It was attended by Senator Teston, Representative Shanklin, and a representative from Baldwin's office as well. The grant was accepted on behalf of the Stevens Point Fire Department from FEMA for the total of $228,750. That money is going to go towards our self-contained breathing apparatuses that were much needed. Our breathing apparatuses are bottles after 3 hydro cycles, 5 years each. They expire. This year was the last year for their use, and with that grant, we were able to put that money to good use. Badger Heating has started our air conditioning and heating HVAC project over at Station 1. The projection is they will be working there pretty much on and off as equipment comes in throughout the next few months and even in through the summer. The goal is to get the air conditioning working right away for the summer, and the heat as soon as the snow finally will go away and spring will finally come. We're going to start working on the boilers. That way we have the proper heat at Station 1 as well starting next fall. This last month was Heart Month. Those of you who saw the heart posted out front of Station 1, and what that represents is for every black bulb on the heart during the month represents either a heart attack or a cardiac arrest event that one of the Portage County ambulances, either from the Stevens Point Fire Department, Amherst, or Plover Fire Departments responded to. Also, the Stevens Point Fire Department tried to get out a lot of different media on Heart Month itself. We did a bunch of cooking channel updates. We did a cardiac arrest skit. We actually had the therapy dogs come in and do Wear Red. And so there were a lot of things out there that we wanted to make people aware that last month was Heart Month. Also, this month, moving forward into March, our members are very busy basically redoing their semi-annual licensing with the National Registry. That has to be completed by the end of the month so everybody can maintain their paramedic licensure and provide the quality of care that we are currently providing to the community here in Stevens Point and Portage County. So that is the big focus this month, making sure we get everybody up to date and certified. And that's all I have under the report.
I move to accept this our fire chief's report
Place it on file.
and place it on file. I want to say one thing before
We
is.
need a second
Okay.
first, and then we'll.
All right. I'll Kirschling second.
All right. Now you may comment.
I want to congratulate Chief Moody and his staff for getting the FEMA grant. I know you worked hard on that, and that's a significant accomplishment.
It is, and really the people who need to be recognized for that, Lieutenant Zander, firefighter paramedics Dustin Dustin Fleisner, Ethan Shabilsky, and then Lieutenant Ross Astrike. The 4 of them were very important members of the department moving that project forward, both making sure we had the right SCBAs for the department, the state-of-the-art equipment that was needed to move forward, and then to secure the funds.
Right, and that was a very competitive grant that involved working, I mean,
A very competitive grant. When we look at the number of people that are awarded grants like that, out of 100% of the people who write for those grants, we're talking less than 10% of those grants are actually received. And when we start getting into numbers of this magnitude and they aren't less than 50,000, we're looking at either 7% or even 2% of those grants are actually funded through FEMA, and we were one of those departments.
right. No, absolutely, I'm glad that you mentioned those names because it's, I mean, anyone who knows anything about grants, you really need to know what you're doing there to write them effectively, and, even working with the other department heads in the city and our treasurer, right, to understanding our city finances too. So a lot went into that, and,
Yep, so
Very, very
again,
pleased.
I can't say enough about those 4 members. They really made it happen.
Chief, the other thing I'd like to comment, I had the honor of attending both those retirement and the promotions and graduation ceremonies. I think they were very well done, and it was a great chance to meet the families and learn, what they're about. And so I want to thank you for that. That was a nice way to send a guy off and a nice way to promote those from within.
And we've been learning within the department when we do these types of events. We promote that, we are a family, and they become part of that family. But as we've been moving forward and doing these events, we've been talking to the individuals, and it really helps to maybe even hire some of these members from the outside and promote from the outside as well. Seeing what they're used to in other cultures and other departments, we were able to incorporate some of that as well. We've learned from that, and we're going to take some of those things forward as well and hopefully improve in the future.
I know I found it interesting to talk to several family members from elsewhere. It was really interesting. Thank you.
Yep.
Any more questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Moving on to the police chief's report. Chief Kuso.
Yes, I did add one thing to the police chief's report. In the front page, it says personnel. I just want to kind of explain that. Per the city policy, we've been approved for 49 officers. We've got 45 at this point. When we're full capacity, we're actually at 46, and I'll kind of explain how we got to the 49. In 2018, the city approved us to have 49 officers, which means you'd have 8 officers per shift. And we were told by the city that we were going to get an officer each year starting from 2018. We did get our first officer, so we have a permanent night shift with 8 officers. And then obviously beyond that point, there was no funding available. And we've been receiving a 0% increase in our operational budget since then. So we haven't been able to add those additional officers to 49. With Dalton Kobach, who resigned his position as a police officer, he had gone to the mill to work. We've not filled his position as of November. We're working on that upon the graduation of one of the individuals that you approved, Will Clay-Smith, when he graduates the academy. So that's what personnel means up on top there. Just a couple things I want to point out. Chief Williams and Lieutenant Einbrook attended McKinley School in Red for Reading Across America Day. Lieutenant Johnson's worked with several locations this month, businesses, churches, and clubs to purchase Knox boxes and get them located on their buildings. A Knox box is used by the fire department and police department to gain access when all the doors are locked and it's an emergency situation. We had several officers that participated in the Polar Plunge for Special Olympics. Those individuals raised over $2,000 for that great cause as well. Lieutenant Johnson continues to work with several businesses in the area for active shooter training and for Rescue Task Force, RTF training. And the other thing that we've been working on for quite some time is for our welfare checks, which you guys have seen, the numbers have skyrocketed in the last several years for mental health crisis. And when we have Chapter 51s where Chapter 51 is getting help for those individuals that don't want to get that help voluntarily. And when we do a Chapter 51, there's been times when we have an officer actually sitting at the hospital for up to 16 and 18 hours with this individual before they're transported to a hospital that can care for them. And it's been a big concern for myself, Plover Police Department, and for the Sheriff's Department. The Sheriff's Department was able to reach out and obtain a grant for a pilot program. We were able to get $80,000 for this year and $80,000 for next year. And we're looking at an MOU with Ready Transport. Ready Transport is a company that specializes in dealing with mental health crisis. And they're signing up with Wood County and Marathon County as we speak. So when an officer brings an individual that's under crisis to the hospital, as soon as they get to the hospital, and Green Bay Crisis approves the chapter, which is the involuntary admission to the hospital. Instead of officers sitting there, we can contact Ready Transport. They will send 1 to 2 individuals over to the hospital to sit with them for that entire process. Just the numbers for last year, and it was only, I believe I did January through the end of October, we had spent 439 hours at the hospital based on these chapters, waiting for placement. And so that is in the works. I have got Attorney Beveridge looking over the MOU as we speak, and hopefully we'll be able to implement that pilot program April 1st. We're going to keep track of how everything is going through the next 2 years, and if it's something that saves the city money, in 2 years, we'll have to look at coming up with our portion of that $80,000 to implement that as a permanent process. So that's something that we've been working on as well here. Officer Solis is completed his FTO training. He is now on solo patrol. And the other good news is we had put $42,000 away based on a Garland recommendation for the north roof here. We got the bids, and next week in front of committees, we are going to go asking for the Board of Public Works to approve the Moorer Roofing and Company, and it's not to exceed the amount of $37,835. And so we came under budget, under the $42,000 that we had actually put away for the roof. And that is about it for me.
So far. Chief, under that new program, would they not only sit with the hospital, would they transport them?
Yes, they actually transport them. They actually are armed individuals. Again, they've all been trained in mental health crisis. They actually have a van that actually has a secure back seat as well. So they would do everything. They would transport them to the hospital. And a chapter can legally hold somebody for 72 hours, excluding holidays and weekends. And then sometimes they have to come back to attend a court hearing. And they would actually be a company that would go and pick them up as well and transport them back to court, leaving our officers out on the road to patrol.
So they would relieve our officers both ways, in other words?
Correct.
Is the city going to have to carry any special insurance for this?
No.
I think it's going to be well received by our officers. That's been a big issue with the mental health, and then the, like you've explained, the time. And then again, we're having to bring in other staff potentially.
Overtime.
Resources.
Yes.
I think all the officers are going to be pleasantly pleased with that.
Okay, we have a motion. We need a motion.
I'll make a
Go
motion
ahead.
to approve the police chief's report and put it on file.
Okay, we have a motion from Rozak. Seconded by Commissioner Taylor. Any further questions or comments about the chief's report? Anyone out in the audience? Now's your chance. Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Moving on to agenda item number 6, discussion with possible action on approval of the 2022 annual report for publication on the department webpage for public viewing from the police department. Chief Kuso.
Very quickly on that, I completed the 2022 annual report, and again, it is with the help of several individuals here at the Stevens Point Police Department. They relay all of their information to me. I organize it, and then Candy makes it look very professional for us. So again, this is not just me, it's everybody at the police department that has a role in putting this together. The only thing I'm looking for is approval from all of you to put it on our webpage for public viewing.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I would so move.
Okay, we have a motion from Robert Ostrowski. Kirschling seconds. Questions, comments?
I think it's excellently done, and I know that we were having a conversation. This is not something that's required.
Correct.
And so I think just the way that the professionalism and the information contained in here is very useful, not only to us, but to the citizens too. I mean, it's out there, I would encourage everyone to take an opportunity to go out, read it, look at it. very useful information. Thank you, Chief.
Chief, do you have the website where it's going to be? The address?
It'll be, I have to work with Sarah and with John Quirk, but it'll be placed on the city's webpage.
Okay, very good. Any other questions or comments? Okay, we have a motion. All in favor to approve the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Agenda item number 7 is discussion with possible action on approval to start Kylie Bacchus
Correct.
on the same date as William Cly Smith, May 22nd, 2023, with the expected retirement of Officer Alan
Rosick.
on June 29th, 2023.
Correct. And we had already gotten approval from the Police and Fire Commission to put Kylie on a 3-month eligibility list and wait for Officer Rosick's retirement. Officer Rosick's last day at the police department is going to be June 6th. His retirement, his final day as a police officer will be June 29th. We have Will starting May 22nd upon his graduation of his 720-hour academy. What I'm asking for from the PFC is approval to start Kylie on May 22nd as well. It's not going to affect any of our funding because we're down an individual already since November 5th of 2022. And so it'd be an overlap of Kylie here. We'd be at 47 officers for a month and a half. But it would also help us in getting her trained and 2 months of training before Officer Rosick retires. So again, I'm looking for approval to start Kylie the same day we start Will to get her a little jump start on her training.
I motion to for approval to start Kylie Bacchus on May 22nd, 2023.
Okay,
I think that's what you really need, is just approval for that.
Correct.
Yep.
okay.
Yeah.
We have a second?
I'll second Mrozek.
Second by Mrozek. Questions or comments from anybody else on the commission? Anyone in the audience?
How long was she on the 90-day approval plan? I'm just curious.
So she's actually at the academy
Okay.
as we speak, and so we put her on a 3-month eligibility list upon graduation. But this way, upon graduation, she'll immediately start with us.
Okay, sounds good. Just curious. That's
Very
awesome.
good. All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Moving on to agenda item number 8, which is the president's report. I have very little for this, except for I would like to give Commissioner Brandon Taylor an opportunity to speak because he is going to leave us.
That's correct. Sadly, this will be my last meeting as a commissioner. I am moving to the town of Linwood. I've pretty much been sleeping in the town of Linwood for about a week now. And so this is my biggest regret of leaving. Stephen's point is I want to resign this commission. It's been almost a year, which is, sadly, I'm leaving 20% of my term being completed. I learned a lot. I've seen a lot of change in my brief time. And I'm confident leaving it in good hands with the remaining commissioners as well as the new chiefs who came on board during my tenure here too. So I'll be watching from Linwood and I'll use your services because we're all part of the community. So give them hell, is what I'm going to say.
I'd like to thank you for your time and your commitment. We appreciate it. Thank you for the help.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any comments or
It's been
questions?
great working with you, Brandon.
Appreciate it.
All right. With that, we'll move on to agenda item number 9. Everyone's favorite, we are adjourned.
A video of this meeting is available for viewing on the city's website, stevenspoint.com/videos.